Shalom, sweet friends. Good morning and welcome to April. Can you believe it's April already? Today is April 2nd, and I'm coming to you this year. My word is surrender, and I've really been finding that if I plan something out, I end up blocked and I can't do it. Like say I'm gonna do one video a week, or I'm gonna do a video on such and such, and I do all the research and I do all the planning, and something happens and I can't do it. And I like to come makeup, the right lighting, all of that kind of stuff. Through the years as I've done this, I have come for some of my morning things when we went through, say, a book every morning, one chapter a morning. But I'm finding that God is wanting me to do things unplanned by me. He has a great plan. I do not have a great plan, and so I'm coming to you. It's in the morning. I don't have makeup, proper lighting, anything like that. Don't have the right camera. I just have my phone. It's what I did the last time. My last video was the same thing. I just felt inspired. I felt like if I try to plan anything out, I just get writer's block. I don't feel inspired. And so with my word of surrender, have said, okay, I surrender this whole process to you. If you don't want me making any videos, then I'm not going to make any videos. If you want me to make a video, God, then inspire me, make me feel a passion for you, or something, bubbling up inside of me that I got to share. And that's how I feel a lot of the times when I'm doing things for our Sunday night Bible study. Is they get all of my posts with the really long explanations because I get really excited about who God is, or finding out who He is in the scriptures, and finding out all of the little details. So I'm only going to be coming on here when God moves me, and maybe He moves me when I don't have my hair and makeup done. Maybe I'm in my jammies. Maybe I'm in my backyard weeding. Maybe I don't, whatever. I only want to come on here when God wants me. This year is all about surrendering every day to His will, saying, okay, I'm waking up this morning. What do you want me to study? What do you want me to do? And part of that is that my son and I have been going through certain books of the Bible. And like it started in December when we decided to do the book of Luke, because there was 24, I think there was 24 chapters in Luke. And so everybody was doing this Luke thing all the way up to Christmas. So we started it, my son and I, Joshua. And so we did one chapter a day, and then we'd text each other, saying, hey, what'd you get out of it? What'd you get out of it? And when we came to the new year, we said, well, where do we go now? So I think, if I remember right, we did the book of John in the month of January. And then I think we did the book of Acts in February, if I remember right. And then March, we started, I said, well, since we're done with Acts and we kind of have done the Gospels, let's just go to some of the letters, and I've never swept through them in one sweep. I've read books by themselves. I've read parts or chapters. I've studied. But this was, I feel like, the first time that we did Romans all the way through. And that was a hard book. I know a couple times Josh is like, whoa, this is harsh, There's a lot of harsh truths there. And then we did 1 Corinthians, and I felt like Paul was yelling at the Corinthians the whole time. He was so frustrated with them. So that's a hard book to get through. You're just like, he's so frustrated with them. But at the same time, there was so many good nuggets we could pull out and stuff. And I kept telling Joshua, you need to look at this as what the context is, and you have to look at it too as what it is. It's a letter to the Corinthians. So obviously there's some questions or some letters or some maybe people coming to Paul with questions from Corinth and asking him all these different questions, and he's going through and answering, and they have some big problems. They've got, I think they had a man that was sleeping with his father's wife, probably his stepmom. um, they had, oh gosh, some crazy women, obviously. You can tell by the tone. You have to almost fill in the blanks on some of those things. And that's where we get the verse that a lot of people use about women, that they should be silent in church. And after, that verse frustrated me along with some of his other stuff that Paul does. But when you read it all in context of the entire book of First Corinthians, you see that he was dealing with some big issues in that church. Something had happened where there were women maybe just almost taking over and just maybe gossiping and saying things that didn't make sense to the study. I know when I've taught Bible study, it could be really, really frustrating to me when we're studying a part of the Bible and we want to go deep and we want to get excited, and then somebody goes off into their own personal stories and they spend so much time doing that we can't really ever learn what the Bible's about. And maybe he's dealing with that. So it was really neat to put that into perspective. And now we are in 2 Corinthians. So if I pop on here, most likely it will be, we're reading one chapter a day in 2 Corinthians. And today was, it's April 2nd. And we are starting 2 Corinthians. So I did chapter 1 and text Joshua, and we've been texting back and forth about what we like. And I already feel like there's now an era of encouragement. It's a feeling more of encouragement than the last post. That's very modern. The last letter was so like, you guys are a bunch of babies. You can't even drink meat, or you can't even eat milk. All I could feed you is milk. Meat, milk. You're a bunch of babies that you only want milk. When I would like to have you eating meat. In other words, grow up, be mature. And now this is years later, probably. I was just reading a little part of the commentary here that said that there probably was at least 4 letters, and First Corinthians is actually like the second letter, and they kind of note a few of the things in there that kind of refer to he's already visited them and he's already had a letter. And now First Corinthians is actually like a second letter. And then there's a letter in between that has been lost. And there's references to that. And so our 2 Corinthians is actually after another visit and after another letter. So it's probably letter number 4. So we have to keep all those things in mind when we're reading some of this. It's kind of like if you're writing a letter back and forth to your grandma, and somebody grabs, and you've asked her some questions and she's asked you some questions or whatever, and you're getting half the story. You're writing to somebody who already knows that part of the story. And so you don't have all the details because they don't need the whole story. So you've got to, when you're reading some of these letters, you think about who he's writing to, what's the context, could there be other questions coming, another side of the story that we're not seeing. So always read those letters kind of like that. But I am just loving right off the bat where he just introduces, praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in our troubles so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves received from God. And that just explains so much of, why do bad things happen to good people? Why is there bad in the world? Well, first of all, there is bad in the world because we have an enemy, and his name is Satan, or the devil, or the demons, all of his little minions. And they are causing chaos, and they don't want the gospel spread. And here the Corinthians are dealing with that too. They're dealing with the Romans and some of the other pagan cultures that did not want them spreading the gospel, to the point where a lot of these Christians, these first Christians, are actually being killed for their faith. We now have actually entered, unfortunately, into a time where Christians in our world are being killed for their faith. We have seen the beheading of, I think it was 70 Christians, and I'm trying to think where that was, and a bunch more that are being persecuted. It's coming. We're starting to live in those times again. People hate Christians, and yet this is such an encouraging word to them that, yes, God might allow some of that conflict to come into your life. Maybe some of it's self-induced. Maybe we create our own messes when we have relationships with people that are not from God. We have, we could just be unequally yoked. We could cause our own financial strain. We can eat the wrong things and have health problems. So yes, we create some of them ourselves, but sometimes God allows us to have some of that struggle. Not only that we live in this world that's full of struggle, but also because when we go through that as a Christian and we have Jesus by our side and we're walking through this process, we get to then turn around and comfort others and say, I've walked that road and I can help you. I've been there and I can take care of, I can help you walk that road. Let me show you Jesus. Let me show you who walked beside me. Let me show you how I managed to get through it. So be encouraged that if you're walking through a hard year, if you're walking through a hard time right now, that Jesus is right by your side, and he's going to use your struggles for good. And that's hard to see sometimes when you're in the middle of it. So sometimes it's okay to mourn. It's okay to cry. Our Bible study group is actually in Matthew 5 right now, and we just started the Sermon on the Mount, and blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Actually, I have it marked. Blessed are the poor in spirit. In other words, you just are desperate for Jesus. You're desperate because you know you can't do it yourself. You cannot do this life on your own. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn. If you're mourning right now, if you're in a time of mourning, if you're in a season of mourning, and I have found out that mourning kind of just hits you in waves. And here we are 2 years after my mom passed, and almost about a year and a half since my father-in-law passed. And the mourning of me having to walk away from my bridal shop, something that I thought that I would be doing until I was retired, and I walked away from it. Monday was 4 years. So blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. So Jesus is going to come right beside you and comfort you. If your life is going, so good that you don't need God, then you're not going to be blessed, because you're not leaning in on God. You're like, I can do it myself. I don't need anybody. And blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful. We need to turn what the mercy we've been given, we need to turn that to others, and they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. That is my exact year. 2024, that was my year. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So be blessed. And right below that it says, you are the light, the salt and the light, salt of the earth, and you are the light of the world. So go out, be a light, go be the salt of the world, and bless those who curse you, and bless those who are mourning like you are mourning, because you have been comforted and you can pass that on. So anyway, thank you for always liking and subscribing and sharing and loving me with your comments. I just bless you today. And I just pray for each one of you. As you give me a like, as you give me a comment, I'll be saying a prayer for you. Tell me in the comments what I can pray for you for. And let's do this journey together. And let's lean into Paul's words about that we can make it through because God is with us. We can run this race because God is with us. Love you all. Shalom, sweet friends. And we'll see you in the next video.